to be a brain architect at this moment,
Uh-huh.
where your impressions become indelible marks,
Yeah.
literally, on their brain at this time.
Yeah, and
You
you're
know?
not impressing debt upon them.
Absolutely.
You know?
And they're closer to universal consciousness.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's like, to me, it's like, man, one of my resolves are to strive to reach them as young and as early as possible, and to encourage and impress upon them some of the right ways of seeing things, so that that'll stick. And as they get older, they have the ability to think more creatively and critically about this world, and won't become some of these adults that we see.
Right, yeah. You know, I mean, like, one basic teaching to me, and it's something that, you know, it always goes back to this medicine wheel, because it's like the white man just has to admit that he was wrong, you know? But black people, right, must be original, because your skin color matches the earth. Okay, so your body came from the earth, and it's closer to the natural shade of the earth than mine is. Okay, so like I burn in the sun. You know what I mean? And that shows that, like, I'm still transitioning to something, because I don't have built-in chemicals in my skin that help me. You know, even though I'm from this plane and this earth. So I look at it as like, it's so simple. There's basic concepts that in the end it's not gonna matter. It's not, you know, it's not the end all be all. But if people are gonna say like a Christianity kind of paradigm that they're stuck in, okay, well, you got a million different sects of Christianity, you know, but if they accept the Old Testament and Adam comes from the earth, what do you think Adam looked like? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? We got white Jesus, you know, we got hippie Jesus, and if you do your research and you watch the imagery of the Messiah for these people, right? So it's changing throughout history, and then you watch the social narrative changing throughout history, and you see, you know, how the artists were commissioned to create these classic images, and what their goal was as the church who were commissioning, you know what I mean? Like, they created like a false persona. They created a mascot. Okay, so, but like in my book, I made a drawing in there that looks more like an Asiatic black man, which I've never seen that image. I've seen images of a black Jesus, you know what I mean? But to me, without a doubt, Yeshua was a Buddhist. I mean, all of his teachings are Buddhist, and there's like insurmountable evidence that he was in India for a long time. And what will happen is, white people who are like, you know, so diehard snowflake white that, you know, they can't let go of it, will see that image and they'll say, okay, yeah, we get it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll immediately,
why you throwing it in my face?
Okay, we get it. There's no way that, you know what I mean? Because there's no way that Yeshua was like a white person as we define it today, you know, in terms of their looks. So if they have that reaction, then my next question for them is, well, why is it so important to you that we don't talk about this? Why is it so important to you that we maintain white Jesus if it's not a big deal? You get what I'm saying? If it's not such a big deal, then let's tell the truth.
If it doesn't matter, why does it matter?
Exactly, you know, and that happens all the time, right? Like, somebody will say something that they know is gonna like hurt you or is dishonest, and then when you check them, they'll be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter though," you know, like you know, and it's like, well, no, let's not just like, those kids might forgive. You know what I'm saying? Those kids that you talk about, they might just be like, "Oh, okay," because they don't realize that person was being dishonest with them yet. You know, and so we're like, our generation is so important because like we've crossed the threshold of technology. You can talk to your friend in China instantly, you know what I mean? And so we have such a responsibility in that the way we act is being imitated and picked up by children. And so if somebody's being dishonest with us and then they see us just like, oh, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, do you want that kid to be able to grow and understand? You know, like, if somebody says to me, because constantly, like, one thing that I get about my public persona, it's always from people that don't really know me, you know, is, oh, why are you so militant and controversial? But you know me, I mean, I'm actually like one of the most peaceful people I know, and
You're
like
sitting down having a peaceful conversation right now.
man, I'm a pacifist. Like, if flies get in the house, I can't kill it, you know, based on my philosophy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, it's so funny for me to have people, and they'll say, well, you know, you're so controversial. It's like, I guess if talking about the truth is controversial, then yeah, by your standards, I'm controversial. But if the truth is doing harm to somebody, then that person's dishonest. You know, like there's a saying that when the honest man discovers he's wrong, he either ceases to be wrong or he ceases to be honest. You know, so I strive to always be honest. And in you know, most major religions, they have some saying about like the truth will set you free. Well, for those who are actually able to understand these words, you speak, you create. And you want to create the path that has the least amount of resistance for your calling. And that path is truth. Oh, what a tangled web we weave if at first we do deceive. Because you're lying to yourself. People who are walking around all day going, nah, I'm not like that. Nah. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, no, I don't need more money. No. You know, like, oh, I don't need to look at other women. You know what I mean? No. Like, what the fuck are you doing to yourself? You're in your own head. You know, that's a terrible way to live. You know, like you are creating a paradox. It's the same thing as that cognitive dissonance, except you're losing. You know what I mean? You're losing that battle because you're looking at that from a very weak standpoint. It's always how you're perceiving. If you're standing on top of a mountain and you're looking at everything, you know, everything's laid out like a map. You know what I mean? So that the bottom of that mountain, the foundation, that's number one, right? And that's where you start. And you know, you might be someone like me that wants to climb up the steep side. And you know, for most other people, they want to take the path that has already been carved out. No problem with that. I mean, these teachings that I know of, just from, you know, the research that I've done, have transformed throughout centuries to the point where Farah Muhammad, right? Okay, you had told me some fascinating information about Farah Muhammad that I had no idea. He sounds the exact same as Gurdjieff. And like, I know that you know who Gurdjieff is, but you haven't read any Gurdjieff, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but not enough to like, you know, fully. I'm only halfway through one of the books on Gurdjieff because it's so complex and it's so in depth, you know? But then it's like everything that he talks about is the scales, everything that he talks about is mathematics, and it's all supreme understanding. And he talks about the chakras, you know, the spheres, and how they play into the seven and what that means, you know what I mean? Like, and how to control it and how to calibrate. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, so like he's saying that number one is knowledge, and number two is wisdom, and number three is understanding. But how could that be when it's the same thing in your culture, unless they both came from the same source. And Gurdjieff studied with the hidden masters in the Far East. Okay, so I know I would say I'm an outsider, right, from the Nation of Gods and Earth. I have not gone through the initiation and knowledge of 120, and you know what I mean? I'm still a 5%er, but I'm not a part of the nation. But I know that the teachings are precise and factual because I study from where they come from. You know, so that's awesome to me to see that somebody in a whole other lineage, the tribe of Shabazz, was able to branch out and reach urban cities and areas and create a whole nother population of people who know the secret teachings but don't even know that they're the secret teachings.
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
Yeah. Some don't, you know, and some of that is because when you have enlighteners or educators, your lineage really sets the standard, it sets that tone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So thankfully I've had the type of enlightener who studied all of these different sciences of life, you know. Then his enlightener was the same way, and it goes back in terms of our particular family tree. But that you may come in contact with other 5%ers and they may not have that type of lineage. You know, they may be orientated a different type of way. You know.